out of beer. I'm almost out of pretzels. And the French have taken what pretzels there are left.
All right, we're going to be doing this Kai Weaver from Valiant Figures. Charles Cavill on the camera. We're going to be doing the melee combat portion of Napoleonic Wars, Everyday War Games, Beer and Pretzels. And we're going to include a few other things in there. We'll probably discuss the optional rules at the end. And the fighting and building, we're going to show a quick sequence for that too. Okay? All right, first of all, we're going to start off with, okay, when you're in melee combat, we talked about in one of the earlier videos, charging is a form of movement. So, I almost had a beer. I have lost pretzel. Charging is a part of movement. So, these guys, we're going to charge them. We have a 4-inch charge. Okay? In order to charge, I mentioned earlier you have to go ½ inch into a stand, but it's actually only 1/4 of an inch. So 4 inches takes me beyond the unit, so I have plenty of room to bring my charge home, so I'm going to charge him. Now, in order for him to take the charge, he must roll 2 dice. The British are going to roll 2 dice, and as an infantry unit, they need an 8 or better to take the charge. Otherwise, they're going to rout and run away. So, roll 2 dice. And, okay. In this instance, they're going to rout. And what they're going to do is they're going to rout in their fastest formation, which is skirmish. However, in order to rout and not disrupt anybody, you need 2 base stand widths to get through. And if you notice here on the line, there's no base stand widths for them to get through. So they would disrupt somebody in order to move through them. So they would probably, we're going to go through the artillery guys and disrupt them. We don't want to mess up the infantry. So they would go through them, and I'm not sure, we'll have to exactly look up what disrupting the artillery does, but I'm sure it would, maybe on the turn it would prevent them from firing this turn. So, but it would, it messes them up, and these guys have to move 9 inches. That puts them, and they're in a, you would mark them as routed. So we'll use a, it'd be nice to use a little red marker to show that they're routed till next turn. So they're back there like, oh, they didn't like that. Okay, so that's the end of these guys' turn. They charge, they won, nothing happened. Okay, so what we're going to do is, so they failed the morale test. Now we're going to show this as they passed their morale test. So we charged the British, and they passed the morale test. So they rolled an 8 or better. Okay. Now there's one option that can affect that. If you use the optional rule of commanders, and you have a commander within 3 inches, he gives +1 to the die roll for the morale. So they would have needed a 7 or less to make the morale. So that's one of the optional rules. That's on the optional rules page, which I like. So now we're going to assume that they made their roll. And if they pass their roll, they get to fire at me coming in to the charge before I can do anything to them. So they're going to do their regular firing, right? So they're going to roll a die times 12 and fire at me, and I have to take it. So they roll the 1 times 12, so they're going to do 1 casualty to me. Okay, 1 casualty. Now, since they were able to do damage to me going in order for me to continue my charge, I now have to pass a morale check. Now, so I'm infantry, I'm an 8. So now there's no, they're not defending any terrain, because you can get a bonus if they're defending terrain. They're not defending it, they're just out in the open. So I need an 8 or less to continue on. So I roll a 7, so I get to continue the fight. And then again, if we're using the optional rule, and I had an officer within 3 inches, you get the extra bonus to the die roll. Oh no, I failed. What are you talking about? I need 8. No, 8. Okay, 7 is a fail, so I would rout.
So you need to do 8 or more?
8 or more, yes.
Okay.
8 or more. I apologize.
If you had the commander there, you would have passed.
If I had the commander, I would have passed.
Yeah.
Is what I meant. But failing, rolling a 7, I would have to run away 9 inches. Now there's a big gap here, so there's not a problem with me routing 9 inches. Okay? So they would have run, and I would have run away. But let's assume my officer was here, and we'll go through the process. So I passed my morale check. So now we're going to do combat. And the way combat works is, infantry, since we're just face up combat, I get 2 points for each figure that's fighting. Now I have 1 casualty,
All right.
so I get 22 points. Okay? Charles has 12 figures, so he gets 24 points. So we're going to roll a die, just like we did before for combat. All done with that?
You can get it back.
Yeah. Make sure I do everything correctly. Okay? And it shows you on the chart, he was just running. The infantry get 2 points per soldier fighting combat. So he's going to roll a die, and I'm going to roll a die.
Okay.
And then we're going to compare the totals in points. 1. So I got 22.
3.
3. He got 72. So, wow. Right? 3 times 72. 24, 72. And I got 22. Subtract that is 50. So, I am going to lose half of 50. The rules state, I'm going to read over. So, the attacker and defender each roll 1d6. The number rolled is then multiplied by the number of points for figures in each unit. So that gave him 70.
Infantry's worth 2 each.
2 each in melee, straight up. Now there are modifiers that can change that, but at this point, you're worth 2 each, I'm worth 2 each. But I have 11, you have 12. So you have 72, and I have 22. The highest product of this equation determines victory. You win. The loser will remove half of the attacker's total points before the die roll, 24. So you had 24. I'm going to lose 12 points of figures. And what that means is each of my guys are worth how many points? 2.
2. Yeah.
So that means I'm going to lose 6 figures, right? Because half of 24 is 12, okay? The winner of the melee loses half the number of points that the loser loses, with fractions rounded down in the winner's favor. So I lost 12 points. You're going to lose 6 points, which is 3 figures. So you still take damage. Everybody's taking a hit. So he's going to lose 1 stand of figures, which you can decide to be this one. And then after that, I'm going to rout, which I would rout my 9 inches again.
Now you route automatically because you lost that battle?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm gone. Once I rout, I'm going to rout the 9 inches. And what's going to happen, I have to stay routed, and then next turn, I will still have the route marker, but I will form up in any formation I want. And then the following turn, if I'm not attacked or shot and hit, I will enter battle again as a unit. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go through a couple other examples. Okay, we're going to move over to here. We're going to show the example of a flank attack. Okay, now the British have snuck up on my French here. British are always sneaking up on everybody now. Okay, so, or better yet, the French are letting everyone sneak up on them. All right, so the British have gotten on the flank here. It's the British player's turn. So he's going to attack me. Now, he is behind my flank line, which there's an imaginary line here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got his 6 inches, which is going to put him well into my unit, more than a quarter of a stand. So he's going to hit me in the flank. Now, due to the fact that he's hit me in the flank, I can't shoot at him. If you're hit in the flank or the rear, you cannot be shot at, right? So he can't stop my attack, and my attack automatically goes in. Now, here's the bad thing for the French player at this point. Okay, these are some unit modifiers you get when being attacked in the flank. All right, attacking from the flank or rear. Okay, soldiers, infantry guys in combat are worth 2 points each, as we just demonstrated in a previous turn. So, this unit is 12 men. I can't shoot at before I go in, so it's 24 figures. Now, my unit here is also 12 men, so it's 24 figures. However, when you are attacking from the flank or rear, you get to add 3 points to each figure attacking.
Wow.
So now, instead of 2 points a figure, I am 5 points a figure. So now I am 60 points versus 24. Now, you're going to roll your die.
I got it.
Somewhere. And I'm going to roll a die, and we do the same process again.
6.
Wow, how do you get such good rolls? I'm rolling terrible today. So, Good Lord. Okay, 6 times 24 is the best roll you could possibly have. So 6 times 24 is 72. But I'm still going to beat you because I'm 3 times what? 60. 180. So I win the combat because I have a higher number than you. And now my base total is 60. So, and then we go back to our description of what happens. We both roll a die. The loser will remove a half of the attacker's total points before the die roll. So I am 60. The loser's going to lose 30 points of figures because he was attacked in the flank. Now, how many points were each figure?
15,
2 points,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
So there's how many points? 24 points of figures here, and you have to lose, right?
15 figures, yeah.
15. So this unit is completely wiped out by being attacked in the flank or the rear. And we captured their flag. We took their wine. And we ate their pretzel. Delicious pretzel. All right. So we did a flank attack, and the same is for the rear. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to do cavalry charging a square. I mean, charging line. So what's going to happen here is cavalry has plenty of movement. We move into contact. However, we'll just go ahead and face it up like that. Okay? Now, the infantry morale is 8. So he is going to have to roll 8 or better to fire at them. Or he can roll 8 or better and choose to form square, which gives him a big bonus in a combat. Now, who do we have here? Marshal de Saxe, the greatest commander in the War of Spanish Succession. Next to, I guess, that Marlborough fellow. But, so, we're going to roll our morale. So we actually need 7 or more. 7! Whew, thank God for Marshal de Saxe. He saves the day. And my brave guys, instead of shooting at them, we're going to form square. Now, normally if he's already in square, I would be able to shoot at him with this. But in this instance, we had to choose between forming square and shooting. We couldn't do both. So naturally, we chose to form square. Now, since we formed square, we got a nice modifier. Infantry in square, modifiers gets +1 for each figure. Right? Just like we did before. These guys are +3. They're going to be +1. So instead of 2s, they're 3s. And now, a secret here. These guys right here are not regular troops. These are grenadiers, which are considered guard troops. And guard troops have a little bit better morale than everybody else. Guard infantry are a 3 morale instead of a 2. So we suckered those British guys in. So we are a 3, and we add 1 to that. So each of the guys is worth 4 now. So we have 48 points here. Now the cavalry unit is big. We normally they use 4 in their games. I use 12. I like bigger cavalry units. So 12-man cavalry unit, they are 3 points per figure. Cavalry is 3 points per figure. So they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They got 12. So they're 36, and we're 48. And we're going to do what? Our die roll, right?
Yep.
So we're going to roll our die. I got a 6.
4.
Oh yeah, 6 times 48 is what? 300 minus 12, 288, right? 288 versus, what did you have?
4.
36, 120. So needless to say, we won. So 48 before the modifier, right? Half that is 24. So the cavalry lost because we suckered them to attack our square. So they are going to lose 24 points of cavalry. Now this particular cavalry is worth how many points? 3 each. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So they're going to lose 4 stands of cavalry. Okay, and then this is going to rout. And they're going to rout not 9 inches, but 12 inches. So they're going to be somewhere back here. And pretty much they're probably not going to be going back into it. And Marshal de Saxe is just laughing at them. We planned it that way.